Hello, I'm James Harvey, the professor of music theory at the College of Southern Nevada with 5-Minute Music Theory. And in this video, we're going to cover a progression that we need to know about before we cover the next cadence, and it's known as the deceptive progression. And to start to talk about this, I want to revisit our harmonic progression chart. I'm just going to write it on this screen really fast. So remember, we have over on the edge, we have tonic, which can go anywhere. And then we have in the next box over, why did I put a 7 there? We have a leading tone to a dominant, and those are our dominant functions. Then we have our subdominant functions like this. And then to the left of that, we have the, the submediant, not the mediant. Submediant and mediant, both like that. Now we do have a few exceptions. We have this exception where the mediant can go directly to the subdominant. We have the subdominant going to the tonic. It's the mouth on the smiley face that is the deceptive progression, which is specifically a dominant to a submediant. So now let's talk about how to deal with the deceptive progression, because it's a picky little voice leading issue when we have a deceptive progression. So first, it's important that we recognize when there's a deceptive progression taking place. So it's always from a dominant to a submediant. It doesn't matter if you're in major or minor or what key you're in. If it's a dominant followed by a submediant, this is your deceptive progression. I'll write it again up here, deceptive progression. Now, where does it get this name? What's deceptive about it? If you think about what the job of a dominant is to do, it's to lead us back to tonic. But the dominant does have one more resolution other than tonic, which is this, the deceptive progression. The deceit is where the dominant sets you up to hear a tonic chord, but then it goes to a submediant chord, which is a little bit deceptive because it's not going where you expected it to go. And it's a really useful feature of tonal music. Now, it's every time that we have this chord progression from a dominant to a submediant, and we do have a little bit of a voice leading issue that we have to worry about here. So I'm going to start by just writing this full dominant chord, and then we'll look at the next chord. Whenever we have this progression, I'm going to put a little asterisk here on that submediant chord. You always, in a deceptive progression, double the third in the submediant chord, which is always, by the way, going to be the first scale degree. If you think about the submediant chord in C major, it's an A minor chord, so we need to have 2 C's in this chord. A couple reasons for that. First, it eases the deception a little bit, and it makes voice leading actually a little bit easier, but we do need to watch out for this because it is going to usually be considered an error if you don't double the C in the next chord. So I know we need to have 2 C's. There's a couple of places that we can put them. I need an E somewhere, and I could do this, although that does create a leap of a perfect fourth, which is acceptable. If I don't really like that perfect fourth leap, I can double the inner voices here, which then allows us to do that, which really crunches the chord together here, which we might want, we might not want. But either one is correct because we do have that doubled C. So just to quickly review the deceptive progression. Deceptive progressions happen when the dominant resolves to the submediant, and in that submediant chord in a deceptive progression, we do need to double the third. Now, sometimes you might learn a deceptive progression is from a dominant to something other than tonic, not even specifically a submediant. This is true, but I don't want to confuse things by getting too in-depth about that. For right now, for our purposes, the deceptive progression is specifically these 2 chords, a dominant chord into a submediant chord. There can be sevenths involved. Remember, that doesn't change the function. But when we do have a dominant to a submediant triad, we do need to make sure in that submediant chord in the deceptive progression to double the third, which happens to be the first scale degree. Thank you.